going to do an introduction, but it all works. You're more or less.
Okay, so
This is mine.
This is yours. It's fine.
Yeah, maybe the speakers could come out a little bit more, maybe. Out. Maybe not out like
Separate them.
feedback. Yeah, like beyond the flowers. There we go.
you all for bearing with us.
Yeah.
Sound check. No. We were just doing a sound check.
It sounded great.
That's what we were aiming for. Want everything to sound good. Sounds good.
That's perfect. So, as the musicians finish up their last tuning and just final preparation, thank you all so much for being here for this special edition of Mantra and Melody. For anyone who's just arriving, we invite you to come as close to the front as possible, as you're comfortable with. Which I see some people already seated on the floor, which is pretty close. So let's just take a moment. To get a little bit more centered. There's a lot of movement that was happening here, but now that we're coming back to the point of why we've all gathered here, to be able to witness and experience these two master musicians, Rajesh and Atish, and Śrīmati Shamrani Didi, whose art is actually across this courtyard in her exhibition here at Miami Dade College. So we have a really special treat, an opportunity to get a chance to hear the music and the sounds that are kind of like the food, the energy source for which visual and performing arts come together. So as we're all here, just getting centered, and then we'll begin as Rajesh and Atish take us on a journey, especially for those of us who might not necessarily know much about this amazing art form. I know that I know very little about it, even though I grew up with it in my life. So it's a real treat also just to get a little bit of a taste or a glimpse as to what is it, this music. I mean, I bet everybody here could recognize what a sitar sounds like, but maybe we might not necessarily know the MO, the modus operandi, how these musicians make their music. So, whenever you're all ready, please take it away.
Good evening, everybody. Evening. Thank you all for bearing with us through the multiple things we were doing by setting up the stage and sound checking and things like that. So also, if you could please just put your phones on vibrate or silent or everything. You can take videos and things, that's no problem, but just so we don't have any interruptions too much. Thank you. So today, we're here thanks to Vishnu, Śrīmati Ji, and MDC College. So we can help to enlighten everybody, teach them, and help to, if you can see behind me, there's a beautiful one of the, this is bas relief of Krishna and Radha, one of the many paintings in the gallery across the way. Initially, we were supposed to be in a room with paintings to get a little bit more of a fuller effect. But since we can't do that, we will bring the paintings to you through our music. So I want to just give you a short, not reference, sorry, a short discussion about Indian classical music, a couple things. So I will give you a little bit of a crash course, per se, because Indian classical music is such a vast category. But just kind of to teach you guys a little bit about it, how it relates to things, the differences between Western classical music, Indian classical music, and then we'll do a short demonstration on some of the things that I speak about. After that, DDG will talk to us about her paintings and also how it reflects with the art and the music. And after that, on the second to last part, we're going to be actually performing a composition that helps to tie everything in together that we're doing, which is the classical music and the art. So we'll be performing a special treat for you guys. And then after that, we'll have a Q&A. So when everybody has any questions, anything like that, we'll definitely be happy to answer. So the instrument you see in front of me is called a sitar. You got it? This is a sitar. So it is a many-stringed lute instrument from India. It's completely made of wood, and the gourd, the resonators, these things here, they look kind of like pumpkins.
Yeah,
They actually are pumpkins, they're gourds. So they're the resonators. The entire neck is hollow. It's made of mahogany wood, and as you can see, lots of strings on there. So underneath, there are two sets of. Is it on?
Sound check. You gotta close closer to your mouth here.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to hold it too close.
Yeah. I think it's
So there are a set of strings on the top, the main playing strings. I know it's hard to hear because it's not there. And then underneath, which is the sound that everybody knows. 1 second.
a little farther away, I think.
So that is a very characteristic sound of the sitar that a lot of people know, but they don't know what the instrument is that makes that sound. So this is the instrument. So that's just kind of like a quick rundown. The bridges are made of deer horn, and most of the strings are metal, different types of metal, steel, phosphor bronze, and things like that. So the instrument to the right of me is called tabla, and it is consisting of a bass and a treble drum, the daya and the baya. Oh, there you go. Each one of the heads is actually like 3 layers, and there's a special mix in the middle. If you can see, it's like a black circle. It's a special kind of mix that helps to. That's for the bass, isn't it?
Yeah. So the
tabla has it's called sihai, and it gives a couple different tones. So the left side, for me, because I'm a left-hander, when it comes to music, the treble side gives a couple notes. So this part out here is called the kinar, and it gives that sound of the na. And then the other layer it's the inner part of the drum. It's called the tin. So you hear 2 different tones, na, tin, and then this part of the drum, the middle part, it's the sihai, where you get a different note called tun. So you get na, tin, tun. This side is the bass side. Also has a sihai, but because of the drum being so bigger, it's the bass drum. A couple notes here. You get ge, G-H-E, and then dun, and also cut. So these notes played together, you get we have tals that we play for the. So.
I'll take it back on there. So that's just a brief introduction between the 2 instruments. So these instruments are hundreds of years old, and they've been developed through the time. So Indian classical music has been around between 3,000 to 5,000 years. It's a very ancient music. It originated in what we know as the Vedas, and the Vedas originally are some of the sacred texts of Hinduism. And originally there was only 3 notes that were sung, and very, I want to say devotional. It was very devotional. So these 3 notes were sang unmetered with just for pure devotion. Everything was there, and different combinations. So as time progressed and everything, then they added a few more notes. So we had 5 notes, and then we came to 7 notes. So for the longest time, it was all of the music, Indian classical music, was related to the religion and the way of life. So Hinduism is a way of life, basically, and it's the way how you conduct yourself and things like that. A lot of people say, when they say religion, they, there's certain things, but for the most part, Hinduism is a way of life. So that is where the music kind of came, and these hymns and everything through the scriptures, we had this music. So coming, further down and things like this, when in medieval India, I would say, we had the Mughals or the Mongols who came in through Persia and Turkey and things like that. They also brought their music too. So within that period, of course, Indians had their style of music, which again was more tied to religion. As the Mongols and invaders came in from Persia and from Turkey and everything like that, they had their type of music. So what happened was, since they were the ruling class at the time, they kind of made like this evolution where instead of just talking about Hindu gods and Hindu stories and things like that, they also included some of their tales and their conquests and things like that. So our music evolved from just being only about Hinduism and things like this, to being about love stories and different tales of conquering and different lands and things like that. So the focus kind of shifted, but it never lost its true art. It never lost its soul. So with that coming towards, the original style of music was called Drupad. Drupad was the original from the Vedas that we had. And what Drupad means, it means fixed composition or fixed word. So before, the music again was very strict towards the Vedas. So whatever was said and whatever was sung was towards this. So as it came, and again, as it kind of mixed and evolved with the other people who were coming and all of the other different people who came to India, their style of music was very different. So to keep everything, again, changing and evolving, but still keeping its inner core, that style of music was called khayal. And khayal means imagination. So we still had the Drupad elements, which were the fixed compositions, but then adding this section of khayal, which is now the predominant style of Indian classical music, because Drupad again was very strictly kept only for religious purposes and things like that. It's a very somber, it had its own place in the musical scene. So khayal now is the more popular version, which again, we still do have compositions, but yeah, to keep it closer so people can hear. It gives the imagination to the person, and the performers and things like that, they have more of an imagination, because again, the ruling class, the Mughals of that time, they didn't want to hear songs of, of Radha, of Krishna, of Hanuman, of Shiva, They were Muslim when they came over from, the Middle East and things like that. So they wanted to hear things that made them feel happy. They wanted to hear songs about love, about... Is that the train?
This is a bus or truck.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot.
So they wanted to change it. They wanted to change the music. But again, as the musicians came along, they're like, well, we cannot give up our own art. So we'll just blend it with yours. So we can still keep the core of the meaning. So khayal came about, and then again, this is just a brief history of the music. So the predominant history right now, predominant style is khayal. Drupad is still around, thanks to families that have kept it alive and kept it going. It's a very serene, spiritual kind of music. So it is one of those things that we call Raga, which I will get into shortly, can last 2 to 3 hours for just one section or one part of the performance. So again, that is another reason why it's kind of fallen out of fashion. People don't have attention spans like they used to, so everything kind of needs to be cut short and done quickly. So, but khayal again is a different thing altogether. It gives you the freedom of imagination while you're still keeping the true part of the music. So fast forward to now, and we're here. The 21st, 22nd? 21st century?
September
2025.
2025.
So, that, again, that's just a brief history. There's such a vast subject. So I will get to the music more so now. So in our music, we have 7 notes, just as the Western scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti is what you have on that side. On our side, we have what we call sargam, which is the same thing, but we call it sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa. So I'll demonstrate that for you. So we have. So, for instance, that is the same there. But we have a couple different things going on. So we also have what they call shrutis, which are microtones. You want to hold? Oh. Thank you. So close. So we have shrutis, which are microtones in between, and we have 22 of them. So I'll come back to that. So our melodies, which are called ragas, R-A-G-A, and that's the title of this, Raga Rasa, right?
Yes.
I'm going to be looking at you, so bring me back in. So a rag is not a scale, it's not a metered thing. The closest thing would be a melody as a reference point. But raga, again, it cannot be classic. You can hold it. It feels weird. A raga cannot be basically confined or translated very easily into English. So one of my guru's guru, Ravi Shankarji, who was one of the most famous sitar players over in the West, he described it as that which colors the mind. So a raga is a set of notes, and it has a certain each raga, there's hundreds and hundreds of ragas out there, but each raga I see, and a lot of other people will also say as well, you can't just say that it is a scale, because again, a scale is a very fixed thing. And again, for instance, I'm playing the scale of D, but when there's a vocalist, the vocalist will sing in a scale of G or a scale of A or things like that. So when you say scale, it's not exactly the same thing. So a raga is a set of notes that have an ascending and descending movement, but I see them also as like a person or an entity, because each raga, even though it moves in a certain way, they have their own it's called chalan and pakar. So what that means is like the heart of the raga. So when you meet a person, you talk to them, they have certain personalities. So like each person, like Atesh, well, he'll have a certain personality. Vishnu will have a certain personality. Didi has a certain personality. So I can't say that they're all the same. And it's the same thing with ragas. Even though they're all considered melodies, they move differently, they walk differently, and they sound differently. So again, ragas are not just a scale. So when somebody asks me, so what kind of song are you playing? Again, song is a difficult word to kind of put this into, because it's such a vast subject. And with the raga, again, ragas are so heavily emotional. Just because the way that the music is played, or the way the raga is, again, I akin it to either a soul or a person, because it's not just a piece of music. It is so much more than that. And this is also coming to see some of the paintings. When you look at some of the paintings that DVG has there, it's the same thing. As soon as you look at it, there's feelings that just come. Again, I've never met her until I met her this past week. And I've known her paintings for years and years and years, and every time I look at them, I just feel joy, because they're so beautifully done. The colors, the actions, everything. This is amazing. So ragas are almost the same, or if not the same kind of capabilities. So I'll just demonstrate you something very quickly. So in Western classical music, again, so you play Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti. In Indian music, and again, I should have mentioned this way before, all of our music is orally taught. So it is an oral tradition that has been passed down for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. We do have written music, but not to the extent of the Western music. The reason being is our music is all based off of vocal training, off of singing. So instead of playing, let's say, so also another thing with the star, the frets are bent. So we pull the strings. The pulling of the strings is basically what we call mean, which is a slide. So from, I could just play. So like that, it sounds more like somebody is singing. All of our instruments, all of the instruments of India, even tabla, there are times where you can ask him yourself, the compositions are all sung, they're all orally taught. So since our music is so based, the reason our music is based on vocal is because the sentiments, again, that each raga has, the emotional capability that these ragas have and they hold, you can't just write it down on a piece of paper. Even if you try to explain, so like, Madani Sani Sa. So to write that down is very difficult. Trust me, I've tried. So the reason being is to show that little bit of the bending in between. You can write it down, but again, the sentiment that needs to be done in that is difficult. Thank goodness for recording videos and things nowadays, because there's been times I've sat with gurus myself, and they're like, okay, well, write this down. I'm like, I can't write that down. How am I going to know? They're like, just figure it out. I'm like, just sing it and I'll record it. They're like, we didn't have that back in the day. So again, that's why it's so important. And again, our music has been taught for so long, so many times, just with vocal. We can write it down, and I bet you I can give Vishnu something and he can probably play it, but is the sentiment going to be there for that raga? It might not, because unless you've heard it or you know how it moves, you may not get it. So that's one of the biggest differences between Western classical music and Indian classical music, just because I'm not saying that Western classical music doesn't have emotion. I love piano, I love violin. They've done so much brilliant work. It's just, again, for an example, when an Indian classical musician performs, we can play one raga, which again, the raga again will be the same. The structure is the same, the movement and everything is the same. But coming back to the word of khayal, which is imagination, we will have a composition, written composition, like I can give to Vishnu. The composition is there, but the other beauty within the music that we have, just because the raga is, again, outlined in these certain things, there's the backbone, there's, the way it moves and things like that, that's just one part of it. The other part is the imagination that you put and that you breathe into this art. You breathe it into the music. So when I'm playing, I can play one composition as many times as I can. Every time that I play it, it will not be the same. The composition will be the same, but the imagination behind it will not be the same. But it will still, again, as a raga, I want to just kind of explain it, even though we have, this imagination and things where you can play. It's not like a playground where you can just go and say, oh yeah, I'm just going to throw these notes together. They still work on the scale. That's not how it works. It is still a very strict guideline that you have to play. But within that guideline, you have freedom, as long as you're still staying true to the raga itself. So as long as you're keeping the soul, basically the main soul of the raga, you can improvise and basically use your imagination to do these things. Again, it's not easy just to pick it up and just do it. This is why we have gurus and teachers who have been learning for years and years and years. And again, music has been passed down for hundreds of years. So with their guidance, we help to use our imagination for these things. So, okay, so before I keep going and talking, do you want to do like a little Q&A now or wait till the end? Later. Okay. Yeah. So let me. Sorry, I've been boring you with all this talk.
No, it's good.
Don't worry, I'll get on. So, after all of those things, just a quick part. So say for the raga, I hope I got most of the raga part over. When we are performing, there's four main parts. The first part is called the alap, which is the introduction. So basically in the alap, the introduction of the raga, we're going to basically go through the main parts, like as I was saying, the soul, the feeling, the emotion of that raga you should get in the alap. Alap is unmetered, so there's no rhythm as of yet. Second part is called jor, which is when the meter, the rhythm is added, not hidden, but as the musician itself. The third part is jala, which is the fast part that also has a rhythm. That's like the conclusion of the first part. Then the third part actually is when Atesh will come in with what we call the tala. So tala is the rhythm, raga is the melody between the two of the music. So the tala that we will be playing today is a 16-beat cycle divided 4-4-4-4. And we will also play a short piece in ektal, which is a 12-beat cycle. Then we will come back to the 16 beats. And after that, Didi will talk, and she'll probably be much more captivated than I am. I'll let my music do the talking for me. So, again, sorry, because this guy keeps coming on the microphone. The composition that we'll be playing is in Rag Puriya Kalyan. It is an evening raga that is usually played right as the sun is setting. So I'll explain it to you a little bit so you can kind of get this vision in your head. The composition itself is Bhuvan Lagi Sanj, Ajabai, Chetu Jara, Mo Manava, and then Abato Nam Hari. Not that. We'll go with Abato Yad Karo Nam Hari Ko Dhyana Dare. So in this composition, the composer is asking everybody to come, especially, because of the evening time, Sanj means evening. So come friends and sit, enjoy the beauty of the evening, the setting sun, and meditate on the name of Hari, the name of Krishna. So basically what the composer is saying is, at the end of the day, and again in this rag symbolizes the setting of the sun coming towards the evening. So if you can just visualize, the beauty, of course we have beautiful sunsets here in South Florida. Imagine the beautiful sunset, the sun starting to come down. I guess the sun is there. Imagine the beautiful sunset and, just the warmth of the day starting to come to an end. Cooling down. Yeah, but after you speak. Yeah.
So, I was requested to speak about, well, anyway, let me just start from the beginning. Thank you all for coming. You look like and feel like beautiful, godly, great souls, and I'm so honored that you're all here. So I was asked to speak about the art, but I'm compelled to first speak about the music, which I didn't expect that all the feelings that I would have and what I would immediately, my mind would immediately run to, especially if you know the pastimes of Krishna. And there's so many dramatic scenes, like dancing here, Radha and Krishna and the gopis are dancing here, or when Radhika is feeling upset because Krishna came late. She's imagining he was with another gopi. She doesn't realize that she is Krishna's superior intrinsic joy energy. And so by one of her expansions called Yoga Maya, she forgets all this, that all the gopis are her expansions, and then she feels this ecstatic, transcendental, loving, jealous anger, where here Krishna's late, and she's imagining that he probably is doing this with her, and they're probably talking about this, and then she's turning to him and doing that. But because this is an absolute realm where the words, somebody's speaking, somebody's thinking, and by that thinking and speaking, it's actually happening. Because like Krishna is an absolute personality. So if I say Krishna, Krishna, then Krishna will be right here dancing on my tongue. If I said apple, 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 or even Rajesh, Atish, and they're off in wherever they live. Where do you live? Huh? Coral Springs, and I'm in Miami, and I say their names, they're not going to be there. But Krishna is such a person that thinking about him purely and remembering him, speaking about him, brings his presence. So while she's imagining that there's some other lover, she's experiencing all that with Krishna right on the spot in her heart. She's thinking, what's the use of my youthful beauty? What's the use of my garlands, which are generally soft and luscious, and now shooting me with shafts as sharp as arrows? And what's the use of my ornaments if Krishna's not here to see it? So if you can remember 5 minutes ago how the music sounded, and then she's not moving at all, but her mind is very turbulent. So me, having studied the various pastimes of Radha and Krishna and their associates, my mind raced to their separation pastimes, where Radha and Krishna are both in the forest and they're searching. You can switch, let the slides move. Where they're searching for each other in desperation to meet each other. And why not? Because they're actually one soul in two bodies, or one stem with two lotuses coming from that stem. One is a blue lotus, as you can see Krishna here, and one is a golden lotus. That's Srimati Radhika. So really, Radhika comes out. She is in Krishna's heart as the pleasure potency, like Rajesh was speaking about the joy principle in these beautiful pastimes and these beautiful ragas. So she's actually his, excuse the Sanskrit, she's his Hladini Shakti, or pleasure potency. That's how God gets to be so blissful, because he has a pleasure potency in his heart. And then, but that's not enough for him. He has to be blissful about things happening. So she comes out from his heart as the topmost, beautiful, with all good qualities, mercy, living supreme truth, and all loving feelings for the Lord. And she comes out, and they have these magnificent pastimes. So my mind was racing to all that and seeing you could hear about it. As he said, speaking about it isn't enough. You have to feel it and he didn't even have to tell us, because we would have felt it anyway. Just like I can tell you, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the art, but I know I don't have to tell you. I met this young man. Gadagaja introduced me, his glasses and a black shirt. His name is Liam, and I'd never met him before. But he had met some of the devotees 2 years ago at Farmers Market, name?
Coconut Grove Farmers.
Coconut Grove Market, where they have all vegetarian things. And we have a booth, have had and have sometimes a booth there of transcendental books and art, like you'll see in the tables back there. And so he brought his girlfriend, Adriana. Did I get that right?
She eventually became my girlfriend, yeah.
Huh?
Yes. You got that right.
Okay. So, and she came over and was looking at the pictures, and was it this one that?
It was this one.
It was this very picture that she saw, but it was just a cheap $1 print that we printed in India. Nothing like the original, and not so outstanding as you see on the slide. So he said, he's telling me tonight that as soon as she saw it, all of a sudden tears came from her eyes, and she bursted out crying and ran away. And then 15 minutes later, correct me if I get anything wrong, about 15 minutes later, she came back and said, "This is so beautiful." Did she say any more that it did something?
She said, looking into Krishna's eyes.
Looking into Krishna's eyes.
Yeah. She suddenly, it was a combination of sadness, ecstasy,
Combination
joy,
of sadness and ecstasy. And she
everything.
got it right, and that was her first time
Yeah.
being there. So on one hand, I don't even have to tell you about the pictures because you just had your own experience. And so I'll speak a little bit more after the next raga. All right, because one is not enough, I'm sorry.
So the one thing with this instrument is that it does require a lot of tuning, especially with ragas when we change from one to the next. So please bear with me as I'm tuning it quickly. Sure, sure.
Looking like this and that to try to see better. It's really a supersonic, beautiful sight. So if anybody can't see very well, you're welcome to come right up front. You're welcome to sit out in front, row C, sit at a pillow, and enjoy it further.
Yeah, no, she knows the phone. Okay, that's cool. So, yeah. Good evening again. I think we have more people now, so thank you, welcome for joining. And shortly we'll have the beautiful painting of Radha and Krishna with Holi. Huh?
I'm just saying, some will be hard.
Oh, something. It's coming. Holi will come soon, maybe before the painting, of course. So in India, we have a festival for spring, and it's called Holi. It's become very popular down in Miami now, which is a wonderful thing. I'm so happy everybody is enjoying the festival of spring. And again, something I didn't mention earlier with ragas, because I talk to them sometimes. Ragas, again, being so emotionally based, and this is a very important point, I don't know how I missed this. Ragas are divided, they are meant to be played and divided between different times of the day, different seasons, different events and things like that. So normally we divide it up by 3 hours. So from 3 to 6 there's a certain set of ragas. From the late night, from midnight to midnight, we have different ragas for every 3 hours. They're divided up into the days. So early in the morning, there are certain ragas that are very languished. They kind of make you feel kind of tired because again, between 12 and 3 in the morning, unless you're partying or something, you're very tired, you're relaxed, things like that. From 3 to 6, everybody's getting ready, waking up, going to work. Those ragas are meant to kind of energize you, to kind of get that kind of feeling. And that feeling carries over, into the late morning as well. You do have some of those. Again, some of the feelings are happy because, yeah, I'm off of work. And some of the feelings are like, oh, I'm at work today. So you have a little bit of both. And then coming towards the afternoon, you have, again, in India it's a little different. Again, in America is different too. In the afternoon, in certain regions of the world, you have a break, a little bit of a, relaxing time or coffee break or something like that. So those ragas will also kind of give you that feeling where it's a little bit more relaxed. Again, when it's 1,000 degrees outside in Miami, you kind of want to go and hide because it's so hot and you're sweating. So that kind of gives you a good reference point. And then coming towards the evening, like you heard the one evening raga, and like Śrīmati was saying, there is a lot of anguish in those ragas, even though it's also coming towards the end of the day. And the perspective that I didn't get to explain earlier with the other painting, in that composition, one of the things that a lot of our composers do, they don't just put it in the perspective of just Radha and Krishna, because it can be seen as a human thing. Because again, the divine is what we all want and we want to be closer to. So the words used in that composition were for the divine. But in some of the compositions, they leave it kind of open-based. So they'll just say the lover is pining for my beloved to come home. Just like you were saying, most of the composition, a lot of the compositions are the lover, in that respect, usually is woman, or they say naika is the word. So in this essence, the naika is Radha a lot of the times. So, but again, it just says the lover is waiting for her beloved. Is she at her mother-in-law's house? Is he cheating with somebody? I have this pain in my heart because I don't know what's happening. So a lot of the compositions in classical music are like that, but they're based in those ragas. So in those ragas, along with the words, they're trying to give you that kind of sense, that kind of emotion where are you, again, at the end of the day, your significant other is at work, they're coming home, so you're anxious, you're waiting for them to come home, for them to have dinner, to spend time with you, to do all of these things. And you have that anxiety. So that first piece was like that. The second piece that we're going to be playing now, it's representative of Holi. So Holi, as you can see behind, Radha and Krishna are playing Holi, and actually the composition is exactly that. So Holi is the time of spring, the spring festival, where the blooms are opening, the weather is beautiful, and we signify that with painting each other with different colored. They have powders and dyes and things. They mix with water, abir and gulal, very bright colors, bright reds and pinks and blues and greens. And again, this signifies this color is that dirt or whatever happened from last year or the winter time or things like this. So we cover each other with all of these things. And afterwards, you take a bath. So you cleanse yourself of all of this. All of the dirt, all of the mildew and whatever you have on yourself. Because spring is a rebirth. So spring is seen as like the beginning of the year kind of thing. So in this painting, you can see, everybody's starting to get dirty and have fun and things like that. But also Holi is one of those festivals that it's not so strict where, there's so many things that it's like, oh, I got to do this and I got to make this and I got to do this. Again, it's the beginning, it's a rebirth, it's a renewal. So you want to have fun with it. You want to enjoy it. You want to, again, if you guys have ever gone to Holi, or you guys should, it's very fun. It's very liberating and beautiful. So in this composition, the composer is saying, Ajikelu sang rang me Holi. So basically saying, come my friends, let's play Holi. So they're basically saying, the composer is saying, from Krishna's standpoint, he's saying, come Radha, play Holi with me. Saki Radha, which is, come Radha, my friend. Saki means friend, but it can also mean lover, and depending on the context. And then the last verse is basically saying, what is it? Rangabare Jodi, which is basically like, let's go and paint each other with the colors. So again, we're not in springtime yet, but I hope between the painting and our art of playing this raga that is, again, the raga is not particularly for spring, but this composition is meant to be played to invoke that beauty of spring with you guys. So I hope I can do it justice and bring this towards you and notice the kind of playful fun between the notes and how we play. Again, the Atesh will be playing the tal. It is 16 beats, the tin tal, which is 4/4/4/4. But the way he plays it is in a separation called adhata, which again has almost like this swing to it. It has a very flitting movement to go to it. And the composition also is set like this. So you can feel that kind of playful back and forth, Radha and Krishna, coloring each other with the different things and spraying each other with the water gun and things like that. So this is Rag Kafi and Aaj Rang Mein Holi.
just going to speak for a minute because we want to hear more ragas, but because Rajesh was saying this was about holy and what the pastime of holy is, that is Radha and Krishna, and then they have their arsenal of army. On Radha's side, she has her Sakis. As he said, Saki means friend, so she has all of her girlfriends. And on Krishna's side, he has all of his cowherd friends, all the Sakas, or the male friends. And so, because my mind stuck with holy, he said, this is the springtime raga, it's about holy, Radha, come here and play holy with me. So just one point to add is that when they do squirt each other, they're squirting each other with, externally, they're squirting each other with colored flowers mixed with water, so it's very fragrant water, and they're shooting with a beautiful jeweled syringes. And then they're also shooting each other with colored powder. That, as you can see, the gopis have these, the buckets are full of liquid, and also they're throwing powders. And so that's what's making the sky all full of clouds of pinks and yellows, and the parrots, which are very famous in their abode of Vrindavan, are flying around and dancing. So because I knew this was and what are they spraying each other with? They're spraying each other with their own love, shooting the hearts of the beloved. So the beloved, Radha or Krishna, they don't feel the water. They're feeling each other's love. And when you feel, love with somebody, it just strikes the heart. So I was picturing the striking of the heart, and also they're still now. They're not moving, although, you can see the bottoms of her skirt that she's turning around. But hearing the ragas, the raga with seeing the picture, I was just imagining them dancing around and squirting each other in the most beautiful dance, because it's stated in one of our scriptures, our ancient Indian wisdom books, that in that transcendental land of Vrindavan, where Radha and Krishna reside, every word is a song. Like the whole thing is a musical. The whole life is a musical. Every word is a song, and every step is a dance. So it's not even an imagination to imagine them dancing around and squirting each other. Is there going to be one more raga and then I'll speak again? Otherwise?
We could, how is the time?
The time is now 8:25.
Okay, so director over there. I don't know who the director is.
We have to close at 9.
Okay, so
And-
everything has to be done.
Okay, so I just want to say I would feel amiss not to thank Professor Adrienne Thompson here. She made this whole thing happen. She's one of the administrators of the MDC campus, and I think without her pushing everyone, it wouldn't have happened. So much thanks to her. So what we do have to fit in here tonight is, because our temple is known as Sacred Vedic Arts, which means 5 Vedic arts. One is performing arts, one is visual arts, one is culinary arts. That means we offer all of our food to Radha and Krishna with ancient Vedic mantras and with love and devotion. So Krishna eats it first, and then when we get the remnants of that, then we get spiritual power as well, and detachment from the mundane mortal as well. So these girls here who came in late, that's because they brought all the prasadam for you to enjoy at the end. So that will be about 8:45. So I guess we have time for one more raga.
Do you want to do a Q&A at all or no?
Oh yes, of course. So let's leave 10 minutes for that. We need another hour. So as you can see, because you all felt that you expressed that the art inspires prayer. It's a transformational experience, just like the ragas are a transformational experience. And all the paintings come from the ancient Vedic scriptures, which are mantra and melodies. All the books that we have in the back, whether they're pastimes or anything, they're all composed of mantras. Man means mind and Shra means deliverance from the agitated mental platform to the blissful spiritual platform. So like, we have a book called Venu Gītā and a painting called Venu Gītā. So the verses are sung. Parahavitang natavadavapu karnayo karnikaram vibradavasam kanakakabisam vajrayanti jamalam. So from those transcendental sound vibrations came the painting, and which is full of that. Now it's composed, the paintings are composed of that transcendental energy, and they're made of that transcendental energy, and that's why all of you felt something when you're looking at the paintings. And we want to invite you to our center, especially any day, any time, but especially Sunday at 11 and Friday night at 6:30. So I think there won't be any need of me speaking again. So we'll do one more raga, then Q&A, and then prasadam. Okay?
So, I didn't know how much time we were going to have today, so this one's kind of off the top, as we would call it, but, so this one also, I don't have a mic. Can you hear me? Should I talk louder?
No.
Oh, it's good. It's as loud as it is. I don't have a volume button. So, as I was saying earlier, this is composition. We also have, of course, Raga is like main, like this is the hardcore stuff that I was kind of showing you guys before. We also have light music too. So we have semi-classical, folk music and things like that. So this composition isn't directly, again, it's not directly Raga and Krishna related, but again, as I was saying, how our artists and composers compose these things, they compose them in a way that they can be seen from so many different angles. So this is a dadra. This is a semi-classical song. And basically what the Naika, what the woman is saying, she is talking to a bird. So again, back to the Raga in the beginning. A lot of our Ragas are also based upon nature. So with this certain one, this is called Mishra Kamaj. So it is a very light, very sweet melody. In this painting, I would say, because it's a composition, but you can see it as a painting. The Naika, the woman in there, we'll call her out for instance, is talking to the bird, and she's saying, please stop singing. Your song is so sweet, it's like a dagger in my heart. So that's kind of the sentiment that she's putting. So I will try and convey that to you guys. Hopefully, I don't want to put a dagger in your heart, but I hope it touches it.
it's now 20 to 9, and our time is over at 9, like Cinderella with the pumpkin. And so it's going to take about 10 minutes to pack up, which reduces our time of 10 minutes. So questions and answers are going to start now. So then where is the time for prasadam, for the spiritual food? So the devotees who prepared this wonderful feast for you all will be passing around the plates during the Q&A. So that's the plan.
I'll be the same.
Okay. So the tabla on your left, when you're hitting the 3 notes on the left. So the 3 notes, the other note, is it always with the thumb? Are you fingers on your right?
The thumb is not used at all.
Okay, so the finger, the index is used for the outer.
Yeah, for the outer, that's outer, inner, and also this nose.
Oh, the index is used for all 3 notes.
Yeah.
So there's
But it also, the index is the main finger as used, and then the other notes uses the middle finger and the ring finger. So like, and the same fingers. Or this would be tirigita. So it's using these mainly these 3 fingers. So I'm not using these 2 fingers really at all. I'm using these 3 fingers.
pinky and tamara.
Yeah, the pinky and thumb. There are some notes that is used for no, it's okay. This finger. Yes, finger is used for other notes, but we didn't really use that much today. Yeah. Okay. Can I answer your question? Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, amazing. You guys are incredible. Oh my God. I'm a musician, so it's great to see other talented musicians. I think my biggest thing is trying to understand from like a Western music perspective,
Definitely.
right? A semblance of a rhythm that I could even latch on to,
Okay.
right? Because at times it seems like he's keeping the rhythm with his left hand, and then you're keeping a rhythm with your thumb kind of up and up there, while you're like kind of going through
Yes.
like scales and melodies, right? It's sort of, you're also kind of keeping this kind of chain
Yes.
going. And then sometimes he kind of like pushes you into a different way, and then you push him. So it's almost like there's a dueling melodic. It's like you're both like melodically pushing each
Yes.
other.
So, something I could talk about ragas and Indian classical music for like a month if you do.
Yeah, it's just fascinating to see.
So,
Yeah.
in our music, one of these things, this, part of that last part, which is like the compositions, when we're playing along with the tal, which is tal is the rhythm, raga is the melody. The one thing that makes this music also a little bit more of, I would say, enjoying, not just for everybody else. We make, as our artists, as our audience is enjoying it, we also have to enjoy it as well. Because if we don't enjoy it, then how are you guys going to enjoy it?
Yeah, of course.
So there is a word, actually, for the specific thing we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's called
Okay.
Sabal Jawab,
All
which
right.
means call and answer.
Mhm.
So if you noticed, a lot of times I will be playing the composition
Yeah.
straight, and then he would start playing.
Yeah.
He would be improvising on top of that. And then he would be playing straight, and then I would be improvising. So we're basically talking back and forth. That's
Yeah.
the way of the music.
Of course, and obviously lots of Western music really has that call and response.
Yes.
New Orleans funk and blues music.
Exactly.
And what's beautiful, I think, about the ragas and what you do here is it sort of, I feel this is a very spiritual sort of music. I feel the same way about gospel music. But I wanted to ask you one more thing, if that's all right. You guys are in D
Yes.
right now, technically.
Yes.
So when you're performing shows, are you just pick a key and you're in that key, or do you ever
No.
change keys for certain things?
So,
'Cause it
that-
seems like
No, that is a very good question. So, my instrument, the star, is in D. It's in the scale.
always and forever in D.
Always in D. I can change it if needed be. Like if some,
Yeah.
again, some vocalists will sing in C sharp or things like that.
Okay.
This can this.
This is a job interview.
Most instruments, again, are built to a certain way. So
Yeah.
most guitars are going to be between C sharp and D.
Okay.
They don't really change. What we have to do is we transpose the music. So, for instance, if a singer is singing the same composition that I was playing, they would sing it in the key that they are comfortable with. The composition doesn't change. The raga doesn't change. The scale that they sing in will change.
Yeah.
But you have to transpose that to it. So again, for instance, hold this. So that raga is coffee. So not coffee. Sorry. Come on. So. So again, that will always be the same. The raga is always the same. If I was in G, I would just have to change. I would have to shift it.
Yeah.
You would shift the scale.
And he's tuning
He's
to
in
your.
tune in D also. Yeah. So we'll go there.
So for me,
That's why you're using that hammer, right, to get
yeah,
yourself.
keep it in tune. So for me, on my drum, if I have to play tabla for a vocalist, I would have to walk around with like a bunch of different. So this one is tuned to C sharp.
Wow.
So this is We're kind of off tune right now, but so I have to tune according to the drum.
Yeah.
Sometimes you may have to use the same drum and move it up and down different
Yeah.
singers, but because we know that we're playing in D, I kind of try to.
We stick to it.
It's fascinating. Does anybody else want to ask a question? I don't know. Does anybody else? Okay, so. We got one.
Haribo Prabhu, thank you so much for you guys being here. It's wonderful. I just want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Is there any spiritual significance to Indian classical music? Is it supposed to lead to like a soundless space, or do we just remain on the sound? Like the Anahata.
So you have both. You have ahata and anahat. So ahat is the spoken word. Ahat. Anahata is the unspoken truth. So unspoken sound. So all of the Indian classical music is supposed to, again, originally in the beginning, was always a spiritual. It was supposed to bring you closer to the divine, to look deeper inside us, within you. And again, as I was saying, ragas were very heavily influenced, still are heavily influenced by nature, by our surroundings, by all of these things. So they're taken, and again, it's not just a scale or a song. All of these things that have been put together over hundreds and thousands of years, they've been put together in such a way that, yes, they're strict. There are certain things. But it's up to the listener and up to the musician or the artist to show you those things in different ways where you can reach what you want. I mean, again, everybody at the end of the day, we want to be free of the attachment of mind. We want to be free of the illusion of life. We want to be closer to, the divine. So with this music, it's supposed to bring you closer to yourself, introspective, and also closer to be with the divine. This is what, and that's how it works together with the beautiful paintings and our music. It's supposed to help you paint a picture within your mind, within your soul. So that is I would like to say the music is more of a journey. It's not just, okay, I listen to this and then close the door. This, again, as I said, the same raga, if I play at another concert, you may hear something different. I may play something because, again, it is heavily emotional, but it's also like introspection. But again, at the end of the day, what we want to try is to reach you guys and bring you to another level of transcendence. I hope that answers the question.
I was gonna ask, could you please repeat that question, because I'd like to invite Shamrani Didi to share an answer to it.
Repeat the question?
Yes.
Oh, okay. The question was it like the sound itself, right? It starts with the sound, but I have the feeling, like all Indian sciences and arts, that it's supposed to bring you beyond the sound, you know, to that anahata space.
Okay, so the original sound from which all other sounds come is the name of Krishna and Radha in the form of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And that's why we invite you to come and experience that with us. Because, you know, in the Bible it says, in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So that is when there's names of Krishna, because we say divine, bring you to the divine. The divine is a specific person, and that is Radha and Krishna. And they have incarnations who are their expansions, like Lakshmi Narayan. And there are further expansions like Shiva and Parvati. So these are transcendental sounds, and they can bring you to the transcendental realm. When you were first asking the question, I was remembering that all Odissi music and dance are all coming from the gopis' ankle bells when they're playing in the Rasa Lila, in the Rasa dance with millions of gopis and Krishna. And Krishna is running so fast